What's up, guys? I'm Alex.
I'm Jason. We're the Table Monkeys, and today we are going to continue talking about our strength training program.
Yeah, we're now on to the last day before another recovery day and then pulling.
Yep.
This is the last day in the gym. We are doing chest and back, the big prime movers of the upper body.
Yep.
We're getting swole in this workout.
That's it. That's what it's about. One of the things I noticed with a lot of guys that train before they start arm wrestling is, again, this program was kind of, the idea is for people that fell in love with training because of arm wrestling, but it can go the other way. Is that they hate that their bench press falls apart, which it does. If you're a good bencher, when you start arm wrestling, because of all this inside stuff, your elbows and your shoulders get beat up, and the first 6 months, expect your bench press to absolutely dive bomb through the fucking floor. It sucks. But once your elbows are conditioned, if you were a good bench presser, if you just bring your bench in a little bit closer grip seems to work a lot better for your elbows and everything while you're arm wrestling, not just for conditioning, but it just feels better.
It's also more specific.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly. So you're going to notice that your bench will come back and you'll be able to get up some pretty good numbers again.
But that's also why we have this chest and back day on the last day of the week, so you have the most amount of time to recover from your arm wrestling session.
Yeah, right. But in reality, is bench press does it have the most carryover to the table? I mean, I think that if you had to pick one exercise in the gym to be really good at and then arm wrestle, bench press would, I'd argue overhead press, but bench press or overhead press are going to be the most effective just because of the movers that it's actually working. But there are a lot of effective ways to train your chest without actually doing a bench press. So if you can give up bench pressing, there are other options too, but we've written it in because everybody loves it. How much do you bench? It's an important part.
If you're thinking long-term progress, you're thinking 10 years down the line, if I work my bench press, that's going to take me a lot further in that amount of time. It's not going to help my arm wrestling 2 weeks from now, but 5-10 years from now, because I have so much strength and muscle built up in all of these muscles, that will help me eventually.
There's no question that it's the most compound upper body movement. So again, if the compound movement is the prime thing to building strength, then obviously it's going to work.
So chest and back, obviously they're both very important muscle groups, and depending on what your priority is, that one will go first, right? If it's chest or if it's back. So in your case, chest is your priority. In my case, back is the priority.
Okay.
So that's why.
So that's why I'm leading with it and you're leading with back.
Yeah, I lead with barbell rows and you lead with bench press.
Exactly. So basically, we'll throw up the structure real quick, and you can see the way it works is you have your primary movement done as a compound movement, supersetted with your secondary movement done as an assistance or assistance movement, and then your second superset is just that inverted. So all Alex is saying is it depends on what your primary is. So for me, my primary is chest. For him, it's back. So it just rotates based on that. And you can do that like block training. You could do 3 months of having chest first and then 3 months of having back first and rotate and just always keep yourself strengthening your weaknesses or working on something different.
Exactly. But again, if you put something at the beginning of your workout, you will be able to apply more energy into that exercise. So that's why priority makes sense.
Exactly. So the way we've written it out is with bench first, but again, it can change based on your priorities and what you need. So starting with bench press and supersetting with lat pull downs. So that's our first assistance movement for back. And we're going to do 4 sets. And with the bench press, again, if that's your primary movement and you're feeling good, and like Alex said, we put it as far away from pulling as possible because that way you're the most recovered from pulling, and it's going to have the least amount of effect on your actual pulling day. Like if we were to do heavy bicep curls 2 days before arm wrestling practice, that would probably hurt your arm wrestling practice pretty good. So bench press, hopefully you're getting 4 sets of 6 to 8. But if you're feeling beat up or you're working on your bench or you need to do more hypertrophy, obviously then you up the number of reps and reduce the intensity.
Yeah, and lat pull down, since it's an assistance exercise in this case, we're going to be sticking in that 8 to 12 rep range, but obviously auto-regulate depending on how you feel.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to bench press, look up some videos on how to bench press. Obviously it's a complex movement, and we're not going to explain it here, but we have transitioned into a closer grip because we feel it's more applicable to arm wrestling training and pressing on the table where your elbow is close to your body.
Yeah, in arm wrestling, we know being out here is just never a good idea. So the more we train inside, internal is going to have more carryover. So bringing in our bench just a little bit seemed to be really effective. And then moving on to the second superset. So again, this is what Alex would lead with because his back is what he wants to prioritize. And he's the most compound movement that you can do for your upper back pretty much is a bent row.
With a barbell.
With a barbell,
right?
yeah.
And you can obviously change this up. You could do a cable row. You could do a single arm dumbbell row. It depends on what you prefer. They're all very compound back movements.
And there's going to be a way to make them all specific to the table. So like when I do seated rows right now, because I've got a fat grip double under attachment that just feels really good, like I'm dragging and pulling people in, so I really like that. It also works good with the over, and then like you said, the one arm rows are probably the most specific because it's actually one armed.
Yep.
You're actually pushing away with the other hand, so it feels very similar to being on the table. So they're all going to work, and again, block training, you can switch them up week to week, every 3 weeks, whatever you want. But you want some sort of heavy row movement as the beginning of your second superset.
Right, and this is the heavy row, so the same rep range we're going to follow for the bench press, 6 to 8 if you are feeling good, but if you're not feeling good, then higher rep, lower weight.
Yeah, and it's 4 sets again, and it's supersetted. So we're going to superset this with an incline dumbbell press. Again, we've noticed that the upper chest, the front delts, all that is really where you need that power, where you want to be strong. In arm wrestling, and you don't want a ton of hypertrophy there. You notice the guys that are really thick there, it's hard for them to get tight, so you want to kind of balance that out, but we feel that it's still good to strengthen it a lot. So the incline press is the one that we do for our second chest exercise,
and that's an assistance, so again in that 8 to 12 rep range, and 4 sets. So, and then on to the last superset of the day. We are on to accessory lifts now. So we've done our 2 compounds, done our 2 assistants, and now the 2 accessories we're going to do are pec deck, so a full range of motion chest fly, getting a ton of blood through the entire muscle, and a close grip lat pull down. So the other lat pull down we did was a wider grip. It's going to put more emphasis on our lats, and because we're doing a close grip for this one, it's going to work more of our upper backs, or our traps, or rhomboids. So we'll get a full spectrum pump in our upper back.
And the way I like to do these with the pec deck I happen to have at Fortis, I'm able to, you can see in the video here, is turn my arms, like supinate my arms in, and really put a lot of pressure on my elbows as if I'm putting side pressure through the table. And I'll do sets of 10 and then hold for 10 seconds, like at an isometric at the pinch position at the front. And then I do a similar thing with the lat pull down. So again, a fat grip with a double over, a double under, and just trying to do that like finishing movement. Like if I was in a hook with somebody on the table and I wanted to just drag, like that down pressure drag, I'm just trying to mimic that movement. And again, 10 reps and then a 10-second hold at the bottom. And I like to do those, the 10 plus 10 for these kind of burnout sets at the end, because in a match, you're pumped, you've had a couple matches already, you're all tired, and then you have to hold and do an isometric. So I really like doing these isometrics at the end because it's just training my mind, my body, and everything to hold isometrics once I'm already fatigued.
Yeah. Okay, so that finishes the chest and back workout. The important thing here is the structure that we have laid out. So compound assistance, and then the 2 accessories.
Yep.
Exercise selection, we think we did a good job in picking the exercises here, but you can change them out depending on your preferences.
We kind of tried to pick like the most general, right?
Yep.
Like, again, it's all about preference and specificity to what you need. So if there's something you know is a weakness that you want to work on, then you make that adjustment, And as long as, like Alex said, you're sticking to this same structure where you know that your first most important movement is the most compound movement for what it is you're trying to train, and then you work down from there.
Yeah.
That's always going to be the most effective in our opinion.
Yeah, and that finishes the week. The next day is your recovery workout again, sets you up for a good arm wrestling practice the following day, and then rinse, repeat.
Yeah.
And just keep making the gains, progress as much as you can.
Yeah, and this is just, again, after our 2 years of arm wrestling now, this is just what we have found with all the knowledge we have from kinesiology and powerlifting and everything we've kind of researched with how everybody else trains. What we think is sort of the best sort of starting block for people to start with that want to start training for arm wrestling and also just building general strength.
Right. This is not a specific arm wrestling training program.
Yeah.
It's not a specific strength building program. It's a kind of a mesh of the 2.
Yeah, and from here, again, as we've been trying to promote through the whole thing with the auto regulation, you should be able to, take out, add, cherry pick what it is you want, make things work so that it fits for you, and then get a program that is best for you.
Yeah, and you're not overtraining, you're not killing yourself every week, and you're able to progress slowly throughout the weeks while arm wrestling once a week.
Yeah.
Try to deload once every 4 to 6 weeks, just by lowering the volume and lowering the intensity. And
maybe that's another video actually we can do. We'll do a whole deload thing, because it's the same. It's very similar whether you have a competition coming up or not. You're gonna want your training to go in some sort of wave. And now that you understand how to structure out a week, we did this a lot in the beginning where we talked about like planning out your whole mesocycle and all that kind of stuff. So it kind of gets back to that, but maybe we can just do another summary of what a deload is and how you might work it in just throughout your training blocks, but also as you're getting ready for a competition.
Exactly. All right, so if you like this video, please like the video, leave feedback in the comments,
subscribe, smash that bell, do all those things, and
monkeys out.
peace.